The sky above Delta 9 was a storm of fire and shadow. The Kreth dropship sliced through the clouds, their black holes shining like knives under the twin suns. Explosions rocked the colony, sending dust and rock into the air. Alarms screamed in every corridor, and the scent of scorched metal filled the command center. Commander Ethan Cole stood behind the defense console, gripping the edge so tightly his knuckles whitened. Beside him, Lyra Venn moved with quiet confidence, her blue eyes glowing faintly as she manipulated the colony's defense systems. Each pulse of light from her fingers powered up turrets and shield generators, giving the humans a fighting chance. "This is bad," Ethan muttered. "They've got more troops than we can hold." "They can't match human determination," Lyra said calmly. "Not yet." Ethan turned to her, frowning. "Why are they after you? Or what you're protecting?" Lyra took a deep breath. "The Kreth are hunters. My father's people, the Alindrians, and I discovered a power core long ago, a source of energy so strong it could change worlds. I'm the last one who knows how to control it. The Kreth want it." Ethan's mind struggled to process her words. "You're saying all this, the attack, the ships, it's because of you?" She nodded. "Not me exactly, the core. And now it's awake again." The command center shook as a Kreth missile hit the outer shield, sending a pulse through the colony. Lights flickered, warning klaxons shrieked, and Ethan felt his stomach drop. "Lyra, how strong is this shield?" "Can it hold?" he asked. "For a few minutes," she said. "If we synchronize it with every turret, maybe a little longer." "But the Kreth won't stop." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we have to move fast. Civilians to shelters, defense turrets online, all weapons ready. I want every able person helping." He turned toward the communications officer. "Patch me through to every sector. Tell them to hold positions and fire only when necessary. No heroics that get people killed." The officer nodded, panic flickering across his face. The colonists were scared, but they followed orders, and because Ethan commanded respect. And in moments like this, respect was survival. In the chaos, Lyra moved to a smaller terminal, tapping into encrypted maps. Ethan leaned over her shoulder. "You've been here a long time," he said. "How much do you really know about the Kreth?" "They're methodical," Lyra said. "They hunt everything that threatens their empire. My people, my race, my father, all gone. I'm here to make sure the same doesn't happen to human, or to the power core." Ethan frowned. "So the humans and Alindrians once worked together?" Lyra nodded slowly. "Long ago. We admired humans. Your creativity, your persistence, your ability to survive against impossible odds. You were like us, only without energy manipulation. That's why my father trusted humans to guard the power if the Alindrians vanished." Ethan swallowed hard. "I guess I didn't realize my kind had that reputation." "Most don't," Lyra replied. "But history remembers." Outside, the first wave of Kreth troops landed near the mining fields. Ethan could see their armored suits moving like shadows across the rocks, their weapons glowing red. The colonists manned turrets, shooting, firing warning shots, trying to slow them down. Ethan grabbed his comm. "Sector Bravo, fall back to higher ground. Sector Delta, support them." Lyra's voice cut in over the console. "Commander, if we only rely on weapons, we'll fail. The Kreth shields adapt too quickly. We need something more, a human touch." "What do you mean?" Ethan asked. "You," she said. "The power core responds to Alindrian energy and human willpower. I can guide it, but I can't activate it fully alone. You need to touch it, feel it, trust it." Ethan froze. "Me? Touch it? That thing could destroy us all." "Or save us all," Lyra said. Her glow grew stronger, pulsing with urgency. "I can't leave it unguarded. The Kreth will find it. If they touch it, Delta 9 dies." The ground shook again as a Kreth artillery strike hit the outer buildings. Dust filled the air, and Ethan struggled to keep his balance. "Listen," Lyra said, her eyes now glowing brightly. "There's a hidden chamber under the mountains, and the power core is there. We need to get to it before the Kreth reach it." Ethan nodded, gripping his sidearm. "Lead the way." The path to the mountains was treacherous. Lava-like mineral veins ran across the surface, making every step dangerous. Kreth patrols were everywhere, moving methodically. Ethan and Lyra moved in the shadows, using the terrain as cover. Occasionally, Lyra's blue glow illuminated the rocks, revealing hidden crevices and tunnels. "Do you really trust me?" she asked softly. Ethan glanced at her, considering. "I don't know if I have a choice. But right now, yes. I trust you to keep us alive." Lyra gave a small smile. "That's all I ask." As they neared the mountain entrance, Lyra paused. There, she whispered. Behind a jagged rock formation, a hidden hatch was embedded in the ground. Ancient symbols glimmered faintly on its surface, Alindrian markings old enough to be almost forgotten. Ethan knelt beside it. How do we open it? You'll need to put your hand here, Lyra said, placing her palm on the central symbol. The core recognizes human will, guided by Alindrian energy. Together we can unlock it, Ethan hesitated. The stories he had heard about the Alindrians were of a race so powerful they could bend space and energy. A mistake could kill him instantly. Lyra's hand brushed against his. I trust you, she said. We have to try. Taking a deep breath, Ethan pressed his hand to the symbol. The moment he did, a warm pulse spread from the floor into his arm, traveling up to his chest. He felt a strange connection. Visions of light, energy, and past Alindrians appeared in his mind. They weren't speaking in words, but in feeling. Trust, courage, human determination. Lyra guided him. Focus on the core. Let it know you want to protect it. Not for power, but for life. The hatch began to hum, the symbols glowing brighter. A low vibration filled the air, almost like a heartbeat. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, the hatch slid open. Inside was a chamber of crystalline structures glowing blue with an inner light. At its center floated a massive heart-shaped crystal, pulsing with immense energy. Ethan felt the warmth from it as if it recognized him. It's beautiful, he whispered. Deadly if misused, Lyra said. And that's why we must protect it. Suddenly alarms blared. The Kreth had tracked them. Ethan drew his sidearm. They're here. Brace yourself. Outside, through the tunnel's entrance, Kreth soldiers began to pour in. Their weapons glowed red, their armor shining under the crystal's blue light. Lyra stepped in front of Ethan. Her blue glow intensified, casting long shadows across the walls. Energy flowed from her hands into the room's crystals, creating a barrier of pure light. The Kreth fired, but their shots fizzled against the shield. They'll keep coming, Ethan said. How long can we hold them? As long as we stand together, Lyra replied. I cannot hold this alone. Your determination strengthens the barrier, just as the Alindrians intended. Ethan clenched his fists. For the first time, he felt not just fear, but power. Something deep inside him stirred. A drive to protect, to fight, to survive. He realized that the human will wasn't just survival instinct. It was creation, courage, and heart. That was the spark the Alindrians had trusted. The Kreth soldiers pushed forward, smashing shields with advanced weapons. Ethan joined the fight, firing and dodging, while Lyra's energy pulsed around them like a protective wave. Together they pushed back the first wave. Ethan, Lyra called. I can't hold them for long. You must touch the core fully. He looked at her, then at the massive glowing crystal. His hand hovered, heart pounding. With a deep breath, he stepped forward and pressed both hands onto the crystal. The chamber filled with light. Energy surged through him, flowing into the colony's defense systems, fortifying every shield and turret. The Kreth weapons sputtered and failed against the new energy wave. For a moment, Ethan felt connected to everyone in the colony. Their determination, fear, hope, all of it flowed through him, strengthened by Lyra's guidance. The Kreth soldiers staggered, unable to push forward. When the light dimmed, the chamber was quiet. The Kreth had retreated temporarily, regrouping for another attack. Ethan looked at Lyra. You did it, he said, amazed. No, she replied softly. We did it, together. Ethan realized she was right. Humans weren't strong alone, nor were Alindrians, but together, they could face impossible odds. Then we prepare, he said, straightening. They'll be back. And next time they won't hold anything back. Lyra nodded, her eyes glowing faintly blue once more. Then let them come. Delta 9 will not fall, not while we stand. Outside, the twin suns of Delta 9 sank behind the mountains, casting the rocky landscape in deep red shadows. Inside the chamber, the power core pulsed quietly, as if acknowledging its new guardians, and deep beneath the surface, something ancient stirred, watching, waiting for the moment the humans would rise again, to be continued. The night over Delta 9 was darker than usual. The twin suns had set hours ago, leaving only the pale glow of distant stars and the flickering fires from destroyed mining fields. The Kreth forces were regrouping. Ethan and Lyra knew the final attack would come soon. The chamber beneath the mountains hummed with quiet power. The Alindrian core pulsed rhythmically. filling the room with soft blue light. Ethan stood beside it, placing his hand gently on the crystalline surface. The energy surged through him instantly, a warm, living presence. He felt it like a heartbeat, steady, ancient, patient. Lyra stepped closer. The Kreth will not stop until they take this. We have to be ready to fight, not just with weapons, but with everything we are. Ethan nodded. Then let's show them why humans survive. Outside the chamber, the Kreth fleet advanced silently. Dropships hovered over the mountains, deploying soldiers with mechanical precision. Their weapons glowed red, and their armor reflected the blue of Delta 9's distant moons. Inside, Ethan and Lyra began to prepare. She placed her palms on the walls, sending waves of Elendrian energy through the chamber. The crystalline structures vibrated in harmony, amplifying the core's power. Ethan felt it in his chest, a connection not just to the core, but to every human in the colony. He could sense their fear, their hope, their determination. He realized then what Lyra had been saying all along. The core responded to human will, not just Elendrian energy. Are you ready? Lyra asked, her blue glow brighter than ever. Ethan took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. The Kreth strike came suddenly. Explosions rocked the surface as the first wave of soldiers reached the mountains. The ground trembled, dust and rock falling from above. Ethan and Lyra activated the chamber's defenses. Beams of blue energy shot outward, forming a protective barrier. The first Kreth soldiers slammed against it, their armor sparking and sizzling. They tried to push through, but the barrier held. Keep it steady, Lyra shouted. I can't hold it forever. Ethan gritted his teeth. He could feel the strain in his arms as energy flowed from the core through him and into the defense grid. The pulsing crystal seemed to respond to his every thought, matching his determination with light and power. Outside, the colonists fired their turrets with renewed strength. The Kreth soldiers faltered under the combined force of human courage and Elendrian energy. Amid the chaos, Ethan felt a strange presence in the chamber, visions of ancient Elendrians watching and guiding him. They didn't speak, but their message was clear. Trust humanity. Let them rise. He focused on that feeling, letting it flow through him. The chamber vibrated with energy, and a wave of light spread outward, reaching the colony's defense grid. Turrets flared brighter, shields strengthened, and the Kreth weapons began to fail under the sheer force of synchronized human will. Lyra's voice was calm but urgent. Now, Ethan, touch the core fully. Become one with it. Ethan stepped forward, placing both hands on the crystal. The energy surged through him like lightning, filling every nerve, every cell. He felt the power of the Elendrians, but not as an enemy, as an ally. And beneath that, the energy of humanity, hope, courage, stubbornness, love, survival. The crystal pulsed faster, brighter. Beams of energy shot out, enveloping the colony in a protective dome of light. The Kreth soldiers screamed as their weapons failed and their armored suits began to crack under the pressure. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Ethan could feel the entire colony connected through him, each heartbeat, each breath feeding the energy. He could feel every miner, every engineer, every child and elder, their will and determination strengthening the shield. Lyra's glow intertwined with his. She smiled, though exhaustion was clear on her face. You're doing it, she whispered. You're proving the humans are worthy. Ethan clenched his fists. We're doing it, all of us, together. Outside, the Kreth soldiers were forced to retreat. Their dropships faltered as beams of energy pushed them back. The skies above Delta 9 were filled with flashes of light, as if the stars themselves were responding to the human courage below. Hours passed. The Kreth regrouped and attacked again, but each wave failed. The colony's defenses, amplified by the core and the combined will of humans, proved unstoppable. Ethan finally allowed himself to breathe. He looked at Lyra, her blue glow dimming slightly as she sank to the floor. Are you okay? He asked. I will be, she said softly. The connection is draining. But you've done more than I could have hoped. Ethan knelt beside her. We won. The Kreth retreated. They will return eventually, Lyra warned. But now, Delta 9 is safe. Ethan looked at the crystal. Its light pulsed softly, like a calm heartbeat. He realized that the Elendrian core wasn't just a weapon. It was a guardian, waiting for someone worthy. And we're the guardians now, he said quietly. The next morning, The colony began the process of rebuilding. Damage was everywhere, but morale was high. The colonists were inspired, not just by survival, but by the idea that they had fought alongside something greater than themselves. Lyra walked among them, showing them how to maintain the core's energy systems. She explained that the Alindrians had always believed in human potential, that humans could achieve incredible feats when united by purpose and courage. Ethan watched her from a distance. For the first time, he felt a sense of peace. The battle was over, at least for now. Humanity had survived, and in a way, it had proven its worth to the universe. Later, as the twin suns rose again, Ethan and Lyra stood at the edge of the mountains, looking over the colony. "You didn't just save the core," Ethan said. "You saved us. And you trusted me." Lyra's eyes glowed softly. "You didn't just save me either. You proved that humans are strong, brave, and capable of more than even my people imagined." Ethan chuckled. "We make a good team then?" She smiled faintly. "Yes, a very good team." The mountains below hid the Alindrian core, protected and alive, pulsing with the light of both human courage and ancient power. Somewhere deep beneath the surface, the spirits of the Alindrians watched satisfied. For Ethan, the lesson was clear. Humanity's strength wasn't just in weapons or numbers. It was in will, heart, and unity. And for Lyra, the lesson was equally clear. Humans were worthy guardians of something ancient and powerful. The Kreth would return eventually, but they would face not just a colony but a people united, guided by courage and the light of the core. Ethan looked at Lyra, and for the first time in years he felt hope, not fear. Together they would face whatever came next. As the twin suns of Delta 9 rose over the horizon, painting the mountains in gold and red, the colony stood tall. Humans and Alindrian energy intertwined, creating a new dawn, a symbol of survival, courage, and the undeniable strength of humanity. And somewhere beneath their feet, the pulse of the Alindrian core continued, a heartbeat echoing with the promise of the future, the end. The storm outside the dome was endless. The sky over the frozen moon of Eurythus was never calm. Thick clouds rolled like dark oceans and lightning cut across the horizon in sharp blue lines. The wind howled against the metal walls of Outpost 9, but inside it was quiet. Captain Jonas Hale sat alone in front of a dim computer screen, typing the same data logs he had written for months. His beard had grown long and gray. His voice rarely broke the silence. The machines did most of the work. His job was just to keep them running. He used to think space would be full of discovery and wonder. Now it only felt like waiting. Waiting for the next supply ship. Waiting for someone to talk to. Waiting to leave this cold world that had stolen the sound of laughter from him. Every night he checked the external sensors before sleeping. The outpost was surrounded by white plains of ice and rock. Nothing lived out there, not even microbes. Or so he thought. That night something changed. The motion alarm blinked red. Jonas frowned. The sensors picked up a faint movement, small, weak and close to the southern ridge near the fuel tanks. He rubbed his tired eyes. "Probably drifting ice again," he muttered. Still, his curiosity got the better of him. He opened the external camera feed. At first he saw nothing but snow swirling in the storm. Then for a second the camera caught something dark against the white ground. Something that moved. Jonas stared. What the hell? The object was small, almost human-sized, but the shape wasn't right. It was curled up, half buried in the snow, like a person trying to sleep in the cold. Jonas hesitated. The colony rules were clear. No direct contact with unknown life forms. But his instincts pushed him to act. If it was alive, he couldn't just leave it out there to die. He zipped his thermal suit and grabbed his oxygen mask. The airlock hissed open and the freezing wind hit him like a hammer. He trudged through the snow, boots sinking deep with every step. The blizzard bit at his visor, and static filled his radio. After several painful minutes, he reached the shape lying in the snow. It wasn't human. It was smaller, thin arms, smooth blue skin, no visible mouth, and faint lights under its skin that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Jonas knelt beside it. "Hey, you're alive?" he whispered. No response. The creature trembled weakly, its glowing eyes half open. He looked back toward the outpost, barely visible through the storm. Every rule said he should leave it, but when he touched its cold hand, he felt the smallest twitch, a sign of life. He couldn't walk away. Jonas wrapped the being in his coat, holding it close to his chest as he fought the wind back to the dome. The creature was icy cold, lighter than he expected. He could feel its faint movements as if it was trying to breathe. Inside the airlock, Jonas slammed the door shut and collapsed to his knees. The heaters roared. He laid the being gently on a medical cot and ran a scan. The computer beeped. Unrecognized organism. No DNA match in Union database. Life signs weak, core temperature 8 degrees. You should be dead, Jonas said quietly. He increased the room's temperature and covered it with blankets. Then something strange happened. The creature shifted. Slowly, it reached out a thin arm and pressed its hand against Jonas's chest. Its skin was smooth cold but soft. Jonas froze. He didn't move or speak. The being stayed still, its glowing eyes watching him closely. Then, almost like instinct, it leaned forward, resting its small head against his chest right over his heart. Jonas felt a faint warmth spread through the contact. Not heat exactly, something deeper. Like his heartbeat was being shared, the creature stopped shaking. Jonas sat there for a long time, afraid to move. The hum of the machines filled the silence. When he finally looked down, the alien's glow had grown brighter and steadier. He whispered, "You're safe now, little one." Over the next few hours, Jonas worked to stabilize the being. He set up a portable heat lamp beside it and monitored its vitals. It didn't need food or water. It only seemed to need warmth. Whenever the temperature dropped, its glow faded. Whenever Jonas stayed close, it brightened again. He started recording everything. Log 327. Unknown life form recovered during storm. No DNA sequence. Appears dependent on heat, possibly photosynthetic or energy absorbing. Shows emotional response to contact. He paused before adding softly, "Seems intelligent." By the next morning, the storm had passed. The white plains outside stretched endlessly again. Jonas brewed synthetic coffee and glanced toward the cot. The creature was sitting up now, watching him. It tilted its head like a curious child. Jonas smiled slightly. "You're awake." It blinked, then mimicked his smile, awkwardly but clearly trying to copy him. He laughed for the first time in months. "Okay, you understand me a little." When he approached, it reached out again and placed its hand on his chest just like before. Jonas felt the faint warmth again. The gesture seemed to comfort both of them, he whispered. "You really like that, don't you?" The being blinked twice as if answering. He decided to give it a name. "Ari," he said after a moment. "You look like an Ari." The being stared at him for a moment, then gently tapped its chest with a finger, then tapped his chest in return. Jonas chuckled. "Ari it is, days passed." The bass felt different now. Where silence used to echo, there was soft movement, quiet curiosity, and a faint glow that followed Jonas wherever he went. He noticed something else, his own mood changing. The long loneliness that used to feel heavy inside him was slowly fading. When he ate, Ari watched with interest. When he repaired the drone units, Ari followed, touching tools and blinking at sparks of light like a fascinated child. Jonas often caught himself smiling. He didn't even realize how much he'd missed another presence. At night, when the cold seeped into the walls, Ari would curl close beside him. Its faint glow painted the room in soft blue light. Sometimes Jonas would fall asleep with Ari's head against his chest, feeling that steady pulse of warmth. He didn't understand it, but it felt like home. One evening, Jonas noticed something strange on the monitor. When Ari rested near him, the lifeform scanner picked up a faint wave pattern, very similar to human brain activity. But it wasn't random. It was the exact same rhythm as his own heartbeat. He stared at the readings. "You're syncing with me?" The being tilted its head again, sensing his curiosity. It walked closer and placed its hand over his heart once more. The scanner beeped faster, showing both their energy patterns aligning perfectly. Jonas whispered, "You're learning from me." Ari looked into his eyes. Its expression was impossible to read, yet it seemed to understand the feeling behind his words. It pressed closer, and for a brief moment Jonas saw a faint image in his mind, a flash of a great icy plain, and other glowing figures lying beneath the snow. He gasped. The vision vanished as quickly as it came. What was that? Your world? Ari said nothing. It just looked down as if sad. Jonas realized this creature wasn't just some lost animal. It was a survivor. He turned off the scanner and gently covered Ari with the thermal blanket again. Don't worry, he said quietly. You're safe here. Ari blinked once, then twice. It leaned forward again, resting its head on his chest. Jonas stayed still, listening to the rhythm of their two heartbeats blending into one sound, steady and alive. Outside, the frozen wind howled again. Inside, the small dome was filled with a soft blue light, the warmth of two beings from different worlds, sharing something neither of them could explain. And as Jonas closed his eyes, one thought kept echoing in his mind. Maybe warmth is the one thing the universe still doesn't understand.